guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl B, and I am back with another video. So firstly, I want to say, if this is your first time here, welcome, and I hope you enjoy this video and choose to subscribe to this channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, hey, how you doing? I'm glad you're back. Hey, so today's video is going to be a little bit different. So in my last video, I kind of hinted at this change that I was going through, how I was on this journey to, like, build up and to just heal my mind, my body, and my soul, or my spirit, whichever you choose to say. Yeah, and I'm on this journey to just be the best person that I can be, and through doing that, I have to heal my mind, my ways of thinking, my body, feed my body with the healthy things, so eating right, sleeping right, exercising, stretching, and doing all that good stuff, and then also getting my soul and spirit in order. This spiritual journey that I've been on it's coming on a year, just about. I'll check my journal, 1 second. Yeah, so I think I started this journey on either August 1st or August 4th, 2021. So today is September 22nd, 2022. So it's been a year and 1 month that I've been on this spiritual journey. And now when I say spiritual journey, I mean my belief in God, my belief in Jesus Christ. I really don't know my denomination, but I do feel like I align mostly with Christian values. So I am exploring, getting baptized and things like that, just to fully commit to God and Jesus Christ. I do believe that Jesus Christ died for our sins, and yeah, that is my belief. So my journey over the past year, how has that been? Well, my last year has been amazing, to say the least. Did I experience struggles? Did I experience, well, not struggles, but did I experience things that didn't make me happy? Did I experience trials and tribulations? Definitely. However, since coming to know God, it's changed my perspective on things. Instead of thinking, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I think, what is this teaching me? What am I supposed to take away from this? What am I supposed to use this to help other people with? Literally, that's how my perspective has changed since on this journey to God. Now, I will say this: when I first told people, and I didn't tell many people at the very start of this journey, for several reasons. One of them being judgment. Another one of that was I didn't want to offend people. And another reason was because I didn't want people to call me out for being a hypocrite. I think that was one of the major things, is because when I first came into this headspace, it was well, what do I do? What do I not do? How do I navigate? What do I do as a believer of God? Because again, I'm going to tell you, in the beginning, I didn't know what denomination I was. I didn't even, it's hard to explain, but I really didn't know anything other than I wanted to get to know God. And I know that we all think, hey, well, you can't do X, Y, and Z, or you have to stop living the life the way you live it, or you have to change everything about yourself to fit into this Christian lifestyle. And I quickly learned that that is not true. A lot of the times people are turned off from religion based on how religious people treat others, because it's not always the most welcoming. It's not the most judgment-free environment, and that can deter you, that can scare you, that can want to kind of make you hide from sharing your beliefs with other people. So in the very beginning, I was very quiet, and honestly, my core family was very supportive of that. It's when I would tell certain friends, they would be be careful. And I get it. Again, you see certain things happen. You see visuals of how people mistreat people when, they're not Christian, or they don't scream from the top of the chest that they're Christian. It's certain people who will look down on you. And the interesting thing about that is in the Bible. And also, if you are interested in God, if you're interested in getting to know God, don't look to other people. I would suggest that you go strictly to the Bible. Download the Bible app, buy a Bible, like just read the book and let that guide you. Because that's what it was for me. Honestly, I didn't start going, no, I'm lying. Like, I seen this one church. It was a church I was seeing online, and I watched it one Sunday and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Let me go read, the book. And I read it, and then I would talk to people in my life already who I knew were Christians. Even if they weren't practicing Christians, they were still like, very in tune with God and Jesus and things like that. And I would have just like regular conversation, questioning, or not questioning, but asking them questions that always came to me. And in all honesty, I love these people because they would always lead with, you got to talk to God about that. Like, go to God with that and see what he tells you. Because at the end of the day, they can only tell me so much, and they are only a person, so they can't be right. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that that was their way of thinking versus saying, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can't go out no more. You can't dress like this. You can't do X, Y, and Z. Because simply that is not true. Especially in the New Testament. Like, none of that is true. Everything that they tell you need to do in the church is very much Old Testament. So in this year, my perspective has totally changed. So again, like I said, I stopped looking at why is this happening to me? Why are people treating me this way? And I just took it as, what is God trying to show me? What lessons can I take from this? How can I use this to help other people? How can I just overall change my thinking process? And in doing that, I just was like, I had less of a victim mentality and more of a, okay, what can I do with this? And it really did help, because let me tell y'all, it's gonna sound so cliche, but I wasn't in the best relationship space. I wasn't in the best mental, or let me not say that, because it sounds like I was very consistent. It was just, I had a lot of self-doubt. Let me go there. I had a lot of self-doubt, and that was reflected in my relationship with the person I was with. It was evident in the relationship that I had with the people in my life, my friends, my family. It was evident in like my work atmosphere. It was just a lot of self-doubt. And self-doubt always stems, for me, in my opinion, self-doubt always stems from something that someone told you that you carried your entire life. You know what I mean? Or you carried from that point that they told you onward. And that was me. So I carried certain things that were told to me. And just I used that as a way to determine how the world viewed me. So that one person or those couple of people who said certain things about me, I took that and was like, well, this is how the world sees me. And that is not true. So I started to realize, like, there were people in my life who would like really big me up, who would say, oh my gosh, you're doing it, like, I'm so proud of you, like, in terms of like my career, or in terms of like me being independent. They'll be like, yo, I'm so proud of you, like, you really got your ish together. And I'm like, little do you know, like, I'm struggling because it's not enough for me. I don't feel like I'm doing well. I feel like I'm just falling by the wayside. I feel like I'm struggling to keep up. I feel like I don't fit in, and that is the big thing. So once I started to change my perspective and listen to what people would tell me, it's like, you are doing it. Like, my life is kind of positive. Like, it could be worse, right? So that was one thing. Another thing that I learned within this last year is to love yourself and love others. How you see yourself is how other people will see you. And in order to love yourself, you have to love others. So the one thing, y'all, that I noticed that I had to stop doing, I had to stop comparing myself to other people. And I also had to stop judging people, because the only time you really compare yourself to people is when you judge them. And judgment could be good, it could be bad, honestly. Like, it's like, oh, she's rich, she never has to worry about anything. How can she relate to anything? Everything just came easy to her. Like, that's negative connotation to someone having money. Like, yeah, it's positive that someone is, financially free, but you use that as a weapon against them. You know what I mean? And I find myself doing that. Like, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, I was always the person who's like, well, I don't judge anyone. I don't judge people. I allow people to be who they are. Which is true. I didn't judge people out loud. Let's finish that sentence. I never judged people out loud, but in my mind, I would just say things that would like kind of validate me by invalidating them. Now, the fact that I didn't do it publicly, I was like, oh, I'm better than people, because, we all know people who are like, yeah, cause she this, or she's that, or he's this, or he's that, or yeah, cause he da 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 da. Like, we all know people who do that. Oh, she dressed like that. Like, I would never. Like, we see it. But the fact that you may not say it out loud versus someone who would say it out loud, it makes you just as bad. Honestly, it makes you just as worse for thinking certain things, because you have to think about it like, why am I thinking these things? What is making me feel good about saying that about that person? You know what I mean? And I've gotten better. Or natural reaction is to judge in some cases. So for the most part, if I find myself judging someone, I'll be like, you know what, Miana, take a beat. Why are you saying this? Why does it feel okay for you to say this? You don't know what that person is going through. The same way someone doesn't know what I'm going through. Like, people think I have it easy because I live in a nice building, because I have a job, because I'm independent. Well, I am independent, but people think that because I'm independent, my life is together. And y'all, this is a video of me telling y'all I am a complete mess. I'm a mess of a person. I have so much insecurities that I had to work through. And I'm sharing this video in real time. Like, I'm not perfect yet. I am far from perfect, but I am doing the work to get better. So back to my point about loving others. You have to love others, show them grace, and wish them blessings. Because at the end of the day, for every person that feels good, that is doing good, that is innately happy or joyous, in turn, they're going to project that same feeling onto other people. So if I'm mad, I'm going to project anger, and I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be angry, and I'm going to project that onto the next person. And now that impression is going to leave the next person angry. And they're going to project that onto someone else. Now, there are instances where people will be, they don't allow external forces to internally shape who they are. And that's what we need to work on. But that takes time and practice. So in the meantime, show love, show grace, and just be kind to people, because at the end of the day, you don't know what they're dealing with. Instead of arguing with them, instead of wishing them bad, wish them well. And you can even say it, like, in those moments, if someone's being rude with you, you be like, you must be having a bad day. So you must have no other reason but to take it out on me, because whatever, but I'm gonna pray for you. Okay, y'all forgive me because I'm just rambling, but it gets so deep, and that's kind of why I'm doing this in different parts. But the key things that I learned in the last year is to love yourself, to love others, to show grace, kindness, to change your way of thinking, to approach things from a new perspective of, like, what can I learn from this? What is God trying to show me? Understand that every situation that I want is not the situation for me. Like, there's a relationship that I wanted to work so bad, and I feel like I was accepting a lot of things, and it's like, I shouldn't have. And it's like, but God, but like this, like, it has to be this. And he's like, no, my daughter. It's definitely not. And I was so hard-headed because for me it was like I didn't want another failed relationship. I think that was the biggest thing for me. I didn't want another failed relationship. So it was like, I'm going to try to make it right. Like, I'm really going to try. But you start to realize that energy that, or let me speak for myself. I started to realize that that energy that I was putting in, I wasn't getting it back. And like, what sense did that make, to put all this energy into someone who wasn't feeding the same energy back into you? You know what I mean? So that was one of the things where I had to just be like, you know what, it's not for me, but there is something else out there for me. In addition to that, in the last year, I've been existing. And when I say existing, one thing that I always do is make myself small. Make myself not take up too much space, make myself kind of play the background. Like, I wasn't the main character in my own life. And that's crazy. I was like a sidekick or a supporting role in other people's lives, and that's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, how am I going to live my entire life being a supporting role in someone else's life? Like, it just did not make sense. So I learned that during this journey, and I've learned that it's okay to consider other people's feelings. It is okay to want the best for other people. It is okay to not want to hurt people. It's okay to not want to offend people, but you can't avoid it. If we're being honest, like, you can't avoid it, because at the end of the day, if you're not making other people uncomfortable, you're okay with making yourself uncomfortable. You're okay with letting people mistreat you. And when I say mistreat you, let me say this first. When I say mistreat you, I don't mean the typical, physical abuse, typical mental abuse, and things like that. Like, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about on a day-to-day misuse you. Like, they talk to you in a way that makes you uncomfortable. They joke in a way that makes you uncomfortable. They take advantage, or not even take advantage, because sometimes, and let's be very transparent, sometimes we as individuals tend to offer something to people because we think that's what our value is stored in. So you might be a person who always have a solution for everyone else's problems. Oh, you don't have nowhere to stay? Come stay with me. Oh, you don't have no money? Here, I'll just cash up you this. And they're not asking you for it, but you're doing it because in your mind that shows that you have value in their life, because you can fix their problems, right? So if you're making it seem like that is who you are and that's how you add value to their lives, after a while, like, they're just gonna expect it. Now, are they taking advantage of it? Yes, they are, but at the same time, that's who you presented yourself to be. So in healing, you have to stop being that person who wants to be everything to someone and start just allowing yourself to be who you are and show up when you need to. You know what I mean? But just don't be out there giving out all your money. And the same goes for people who attach their value to sex. It's like, you have sex with people, you give into their one second. Some people tie their worth to, their sexuality or their sex drive, and it's like, you can't really do that, because you're giving that thinking that this person is gonna love me for that, and honestly, they won't. They'll take it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they value you as a person. So to avoid situations like that, I think it's very important that you figure out your self-worth, figure out what do you love about you, what you like about yourself, and show that part of you to other people. Don't make it so surface level. Don't base who you are based on what you can give other people, because if it's what you're giving other people, then they're not really going to value that about you, or they'll value that aspect of you, but everything else about you they won't care for, because they don't need to get to know you. because your personality, or how you're presenting your personality, is in how you can serve them. So whether you're serving them through financial means, giving them money, giving them gifts, solving their problems, paying their rent, or to the flip side of that, if you're giving them your body, sexing them, you have so much more to offer than just that. So yeah, that's one of the things that I learned over the last year. So what was it that I said? Love yourself, love others, show people grace, and read the Bible. Now, reading the Bible is very important because through reading the Bible, you realize that the world is messed up. You realize that everyone is flawed. There is no such thing as the perfect person, despite what we may have thought based on the religious beliefs of people in the past, where you had to live a certain way, where you had to act a certain way, where you couldn't drink, where you couldn't go out, where you couldn't have a good time, where you couldn't have fun, and things like that. Is so false. And the only way you will learn that is by reading the Bible. Like, every story has crazy sequence of events. Every story in the Bible has a crazy sequence of events. But what ends up happening, what you learn in these stories, is that no matter what you do, if you repent for the things that you do and you go to God and ask for forgiveness, you will be forgiven, hence saved. But the thing is, you're not going to be saved just because you say, oh God, forgive me, I know I have sinned. No, it's not just that simple. The thing is, you have to believe it, and you have to move in a way where you acknowledge what you did is wrong and you're actively trying to change. You can't sin or do something that is evil, that you know is evil and you think in your mind is evil, and do it anyway and say, oh well, God's gonna forgive me, I acknowledge it, he's gonna forgive me, and then proceed to do it the next day and next day and the next day. No, like, you actually have to actively try to not be that person anymore. But realistically, we are all humans. One of my favorite stories in the Bible, well, I have like several. One of the craziest ones is the story of Samson. So while Samson, his life was started as a blessing from the time he was in the womb, he messed up a lot. And he made himself vulnerable to temptation. And in that, he was made weak. However, in his last days, mind you, they cut his hair, they chained him, they, carved out his eyeballs so he couldn't see. But in his last breath, he asked God to give him the strength to defeat those people. Through that, his people got salvation. So even in the moment of weakness, Samson prayed to God and was able to be a blessing and bring salvation to his people. You know what I mean? So that was a little off topic, but it kind of just gives you a brief example of how God will forgive you. God will come back to you. God will want the best for you, will try to bless you, either bless you or bless others through you. And you have to allow yourself to be that vessel to bless others. And that's why I say you have to be good to other people's, because you have to be good to other people, because sometimes what you want to do is not meant for you. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with knowing that what I'm going to do tomorrow may not benefit me, but it will benefit other people. And I love them enough to want better for them. So, yeah, there's that. And also, never think you're better than anyone, because no one's perfect. The only living, perfect being was Jesus Christ. And he died for our sins. And if he died for our sins, that means we all got them. We all got them. So humble yourselves. Humble yourselves to know that you are not better than no one. So yeah, I'm going to keep this one short because I think I'm going to make this into a series. But I just hope you guys enjoyed my little rant